we're going.
Is it going?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm with Chris on, what's today's date? March
4th or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right. March 4th.
It's a Thursday.
2021. We're here in the Messy Warehouse. This last Sunday, like 3 days ago, we had a buy-sell trade meet here at the warehouse. Quality over quantity, just a few people. That was one cool thing because I know a lot of the anti-e-begging community of Radical Rig, Darius Truxton, Canadian Gamer. They're familiar with Aaron Kosharski, the video game wizard. And this region, St. Pete, Tampa, we have Aaron Kosharski, the video game wizard. He's OG video game content on YouTube back from when like YouTube was only a year or two old. That's when he got started. Mostly focused on video game stuff. Has a few bangers, like what's his first video? Be True to Yourself. Fucking banger right there. Great
That's
song.
a hidden gem.
Total hidden gem. So Aaron's cool. He's got this reputation of, I don't know, being Aaron.
Nice TV guy.
But he's a fucking genuine person. I will say that just like any reseller that kind of moves quickly, Aaron moves quickly. Sometimes you get people dumping their junk on you and you quickly pass that junk off on someone else.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like you can get this reputation of like, hey, this guy sells broken shit. It's like, well, it's because he takes in broken shit. Yeah. And, you know, so
know what I'm saying?
That happens every now and then. Like, I bought a bum Wavebird off him one time. He let me swap it back. So it's fine. But yeah, so Aaron got his hands on a Vectrex, some Vectrex games. I told him I was interested, and then I proceeded to go on a 2-week hiatus of smoking weed and being depressed Dave. Didn't get back to him, but it ended up falling into the hands of a local guy named Mike Nathan, who's a big up-and-comer. Like, kind of started in the hobby just as a collector, and now he's really into like buying in volume and keeping what he likes, flipping stuff. So, long story short, Mike got the trade for it, and then I had a bunch of stuff that I wanted to show. I had Chris fire up the camera just because I want to show some of the stuff in the warehouse. Stuff I've been piling up. I guess you could use the word hoarding. Been hoarding certain inventory, certain titles that I like a lot. And Mike picked me off a lot of pieces that I've been sitting on. Typically hard to come off of those pieces because the reason why I'll show you in a bit, the reason why I might have so many copies of a certain title is because I'm paying up for it. So if I'm trading out, I'll show you 3D Dot Heroes, how many copies I have. If I'm trading it out, I gotta get more trade than I've put money into it.
Yeah.
So anyways, Mike was cool with me kind of upcharging on a lot of these great titles that are most likely going to start going up in price in the next year or two. And it allowed me to get the Vectrex at a price out of pocket, essentially, for what I've had into what Mike traded me off of, converted into what I have into the Vectrex. I'm pretty damn happy. I'd say I probably...
And it was tested working. You guys played it. So.
Yes, that's the other thing. I wanted to maybe demo towards the end of this video if there's still capacity left, if we show off some of the warehouse and come back to it. Fire it up and show the Vectrex because it's freaking cool, man. One thing that made me fall in love with it is just the way it works. It's not like a typical CRT. It's more of an oscilloscope, which I used to use when I was in the Air Force and I would calibrate stuff. I was trained on how to calibrate an O-scope. We would use O-scopes for calibrating certain equipment. And this thing's like, and what was really cool is the Tektronix O-scope that we used in the Air Force had an Easter egg where you put in a certain button combination, just like certain TI calculators could play Tetris. Yeah. You can play Tetris on an O-scope. But it's doing like all kinds of visual tricks to pull it off. It's really neat. Same thing applies here. So what's neat is 1982 technology. You think of like Atari 2600.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
That outputs these massive pixels. Yeah. You know, it's basically like an NES just with larger pixels, very low processing capability. This thing doesn't have much processing capability, but it can draw these fucking diagonal curved lines and parabolas and stuff. So like these genius programmers back in the day could create like scaling effects and parallax effects, 3D effects with like
that really cool racing game that has the depth.
Yeah, Hyper Chase looks so fucking cool. So that's what I encourage. Like anybody, if we can show this thing for a couple minutes later on in this video, if you like what you see, go on YouTube and look up gameplay on Vectrex games, or look for like top 10 most visually impressive games. and they're just really neat. The programming that was involved with making these games look like they do, it's really cool. What else was I gonna say? Oh, the other cool thing is somebody showed me this LED lit overlay. 'Cause that's the other cool thing is all these have like an overlay.
Yeah.
That was the gimmick with this. Part of the gimmick was, and it's really cheesy. A lot of times it'll just be like a color gradient, like a rainbow-like effect, where it might be more pinks up here, more darker tones there, and it just makes your games pop with color. But they have like custom ones, Chris, that have like that are made of glass, and I think they're lit with LEDs somehow, and they give games like Hyper Chase this vaporwave look to it, and just again something you'd have to look into. But
Yeah.
fucking custom overlays can be really cool on this. I would love to get a Hyper Chase vaporwave style.
Get fucking mushroomed up and play them.
Yeah, they're very trippy. Definitely fun to play if you've got a little bit of psilocybin in you, a little bit of psychedelics in you. Take a half tab of acid and play some Hyper Chase. Go into the next dimension. It's cool shit. Yeah, and I could go over other stuff I traded for, but it'd be better if I could show what I traded away.
Yeah.
Along with what I traded for, and it would speak for itself. The stuff I like.
You want to go over any of this? Anything in there?
Just stuff, man. It's just stuff I traded. This is all value-based stuff I traded. You know, so there's nothing to really learn from. As far as what I typically target, I feel like people can learn because I target stuff that I feel is going to go up in value. You know,
Yeah.
like most collectors, right?
Or if it's at the right price.
Move stuff when it's hot. You know, if Mario Sunshine's hitting $100, oh, would you know it? A lot of local collectors are willing to trade that for what? For Dreamcast, Capcom titles, and stuff like that.
NTCAB with rich cards.
It's like sell stuff that seems like it's peaked out that could lose value. And trade for stuff that's certainly not peaked out and could go up. And that's what everybody tries to do if they're a
Double or
collector.
triple.
Or if you're a fucking reseller, you try to do that too.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. But in this case, it's like there's not much to learn here because it was just like Devin was
It's just a
saying,
mishmash of like, get it, take it away.
Yeah, he was like, I'll take a GameCube and he took, I had another copy of this game with manual, Legend of Heroes 2. So with manual, we called it 95 trade. You know, so he's just trading off heavies.
He wants a single easy sale
Yes.
that he can super maximize.
What's funny
on.
is like, here's a single easy sale for me, a
I'm
nice
surprised.
CIB.
I didn't even know he brought that.
But to Devin, it's like he doesn't even want to take the time.
Just have to picture it. High return rate.
Yeah.
Due to, it's condition sensitive.
like
You
selling
got
on
all these
Amazon.
extra inserts.
Amazon's so much more convenient. He gets more money on stuff. He gets top dollar, and it's the listing process is so quick and easy.
No pictures.
Yeah, so he'd much rather trade this to somebody that has missing manual, rough condition, Double Dash, and Mario Sunshine. He would happily be like, oh, yeah, I'll take both those.
Yep.
Because he'll throw both this in a resurfacer, and then he'll get probably 90 for Double Dash on Amazon.
That's
and
why
100 for Sunshine.
I always like what he brings because it's not the boring, like, he's not going to bring GameCube pieces. He's going to bring weird collector pieces.
He knows what baits us collectors /
and he's
investors.
pretty. I mean, he's reasonable with them,
Yep, and he's really he's lenient again. Look,
Yeah.
You'll take that rough condition, missing manual. It doesn't matter to him.
Call your micro 180 trade.
Yeah, if anything, these little issues, if it brings down the cost a little bit, he just likes it even more. You know? So, so that's the beauty of these trade events. And if anybody's watching a trade event video that I put out or watching this, and you don't have this kind of thing in your local area, man, consider getting it started yourself. 'Cause it catches fire, man. There's a lot of need for this in every local collecting scene. A need for collectors to meet up and swap in person. Nothing beats that. you know?
Doing cash deals. You're not having to ship stuff.
Yep.
It's a great way to just get rid of. I mean, dude, this stuff is.
Even if you have a local Kansas City buy-sell trade group that doesn't do local meetups, but it's like everybody knows that they're local to each other.
Yeah.
And you take all your pictures. People are going to want to see pictures. Hey,
pictures down.
Can I see the inside of Dragon Warrior 2? It's a pain in the ass, man. How cool is it to just show up with it? And if they're interested, man, they can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
So it's the beauty of I know like the West Coast is probably are spoiled with that. You know, Portland,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure
Oh, yeah.
they get to do that stuff all the time. But if you don't have that in your local area, consider getting it started. And if you're anywhere in the Southeast, even Georgia and stuff, consider coming to a Tampa Bay Trade Day event. It's on Facebook. Tampa Bay
Worth
Trade
it.
Day.
It's worth it. Come packing. We got people that spend real money, bring real pieces,
Yep.
nice items. We don't mess around.
I tend to not be one of those guys that gets a lot of money when people come over because I won a lot for my stuff. But I trade like crazy.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
The lighting sucks right now. We took out some bulbs so that the projector would work better. Total pigsty in here. I apologize, but I don't know. Chris, anything I've got some depth on, I just want to show.
Yeah. It's a lot of PS3.
Definitely, it's not in my strategic interest to show. You know, like if there's another person out there that thinks that 3D Dot Heroes is going to be a $75 game here soon, they might be inspired to want to try to go after this game at where it's going for right now, which is $35-40. And if I were to show how much I have, they might say, nah, fuck that title, you know? So it's really not my best interest to be showing that, like, hey, there's a dude that has a ton of these.
Yeah.
How expensive can this game get without me wanting to just crush the market and start supplying? So these are pulled from the supply side of the market. Supply and demand
They're
equals
not coming
value.
back up until it.
Until
blows
I can
up.
get 75 a pop, probably. So that's the point with this. Should I be showing that? Probably not, but I only have 51 subscribers, so give them a treat. Show them what I got. Show some other titles. So these are all titles where if you got it right now, if you were to sell it on eBay, get 40 free shipping, you get hit with fees and everything. Like, don't fucking sell games that Dave has a pile of, is my suggestion. This is my advice. Or I'll tell you what I'm planning on selling them for. Maybe you might want to consider a similar number in your mind too. So 3D Dot Heroes, I fully expect like north of 60 soon. Africa, just one that I think everybody already knows. One of those rare fucking I got it type pieces.
Yeah.
I don't think people
One
really
of the
rust
high-end
for it. Other than
non-sports titles on PS3.
right, it's just Natsume. It's fucking very low print.
Make sure you're getting that ESRB. You don't want none of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Japanese.
foreign ones. Hakuna Matata, Hakuna, whatever it's called, is the Japanese one. But in this game was like $60 back when no other pre-owned PS3 game was north of like 35, except for new releases. So this game has always been that like number one until like recently, where like JoJo's is starting to shoot up like crazy. Painkiller has proven itself to be,
excluding NBA Elite 11.
whatever. And even NCAA 14. You get weird shit that dethrones titles like Africa. But I think because Africa's been so pricey for so long, it's kind of on everybody's radar. I think it's going to hold some good value. So my average Africa has set me back about $60, I would say, on average. And already I can get about 100 for them. Would like to start getting. I've sold a couple at like 150.
Yeah.
So it dries up on eBay every now and then, and I get a chance to move them for 150. I don't see massive upside with Africa, but I'll take 150 for them as I can get them sold. Folklore's another one I see good long-term value with. So average Folklore has set me back just under 20. One that it's gonna probably max out around 50, 60, I think. Saw 2 is one I've gone for. I've got more copies. Well, as we look around the warehouse too, I'll find other
little random
piles, and you'll
stashes.
see more of these titles that just made their way out of the stack. They almost got traded away, and now they just need to get stacked back. Here's another one.
Oh, yep.
These two are kind of similar to me. Similar print runs. Knight's Contract is a little rare, but Bandai published, not Bandai Namco. For whatever reason, it's weird when like two companies merge like that. Bandai Namco they're both called Bandai Namco now.
Yeah.
But
Koei
you'll occasionally see like Namco solo published.
Yeah.
You'll occasionally see Bandai solo published. But most of their stuff will get that combined Bandai Namco tag. For whatever reason, man, they went solo on these two, and they're both fairly low print. They're also on 360. Those aren't good. Those aren't good metrics for it, I suppose, to put it that way. It'd be great if they were PS3 exclusives.
Yeah.
But, man, for what they are, low print, cool, interesting games. So, those are ones I sit on. I should have a lot more of these, but Way of the Samurai 3 is one I've got a boner for. I can see that one becoming 50, 60. Ni no Kuni, no, not one that I like. It's just one that I happen to, as it comes in, I stack them next to each other. So I don't know. So that's my way of saying, I guess there are some titles where you'll see I've got some depth on it, but I don't have a boner for it. Got a boner for Shadows of the Damned. The risk with all this stuff is that coming to the Switch, Suda 51 collection, Shadows of the Damned, Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer is Dead, you know?
Or
like
if they do something like...
Could see something like that really hurting, you know.
I don't know anything about
Original
3D Dot Hero game style, but if they do a 3D Dot Heroes 2 plus 3D Dot Heroes 1 packed in,
that would hurt it. Hurt it quite a bit for sure. That is one where it's like, dude, all these games, would not surprise me at all if they got ported to Switch and got a physical print on the Switch.
Yeah, the nice thing that, at least with Sony and Microsoft stuff, is we're really nearing the end of the disc era where there's going to be a lot of download only games,
and that would be great. Now,
they make them download only. That's awesome.
That only helps. You know? That's a weird concept where it's like comes out on the Switch. Dave, you know 3D Dot Hero is coming out on the Switch. I go, ooh, is it physical? It's download only. LRG's thinking about picking it. I'd be like, that's good. Whatever. I'm cool because the original Atlas print is just gonna get all these newfound people that find out about this game for the first time are gonna say, oh, cool. There's a PS3 version that I can go for. So I can have it physically.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really care for a digital version.
I mean, just looking back at how cheap sealed Dragon Quest like 4 and 5 on DS were to what they go for now, CIB. It's like, don't tell me that stuff can't, you know.
Yeah, those games went from flooded,
recent,
from literally a Black Friday sale, SquareEnix.com. They were under $10, brand new,
sealed,
just a few years ago. Talking like 4 or 5 years ago. That's when Devin loaded up.
Yeah.
Got pictures of his stash of all the Dragon Quest games on DS.
So struggling to sell them for $25,
$30.
Now they're getting hit for $150 CIB.
Yep.
4 or 5.
So all those con kids that got to buy them for $25, $30. Got a steal.
Paid off.
So it comes down to like knowing what to hold, knowing what to fold, and also knowing the risk involved with holding. Every now and then you hold something and it poops on you.
And I mean the other thing, of course, is like money that's being put into this area, the more modern stuff like PS3, that's taking away from money that could go into like Dreamcast.
Yes,
or OG Xbox.
Right now, I've been really like craving Dreamcast. I feel like it's on the brink of,
it's about to
doubling.
Explode.
A lot of the Capcom games,
Minty.
you know, they can be in the 150 range and have plenty of room to go to 3-4.
Yep, giggling too.
Because there's this focal point of like all collectors want Bangai-O. They all want Cannon Spike. They all there's certain titles that they all want, man. And like
it's just a great it's a full settable console. There's nothing like outrageous.
Yep. So any of those, I'll give you an example of one that gets in people's way for full set. It's one that most collectors wouldn't want if they just want a small set of quality. Those tend to be like Capcom focused.
Yeah, the full Capcom subset.
But if you're going for a full set, man, a game called Urban Chaos on Dreamcast, really rare. So I got my eyes on certain titles that are hard to check off the list for full set guys. I like that stuff, of course. And of course, I like the stuff that just has insatiable demand. Cannon Spike, great example. Giggling 2, it's like, Dave, can you see Giggling 2
Mars Matrix
sustaining $1,000? Yes, I fucking can. Absolutely can. And I really think it will. Same with Cannon Spike. $1,000 game right there. Seems unbelievable right now, but fuck, man. Been doing this too long.
To see how where stuff was and where so much stuff has been able to go to, it desensitizes you to the like, oh, it's really not crazy.
Yeah. For years, like Kyo on Sega CD couldn't jump ahead from $300. You know, I mean, for years it was sustaining like sub 150, where it'd be bone dry.
Yeah.
But like, fucking try fishing it for 300. It
Is
won't
like
sell.
2,000 now?
You try to fish. Oh yeah, you probably get 2K. But if you try to fish one out for too much money, it'll just sit there until somebody comes along and undercuts you, and then that one becomes sellable. It's this weird thing where like until collectors see these things start selling for an outrageous amount, they won't believe it and they don't want to put their money into it. So us as collectors that want to sell this stuff in the future, a lot of collectors, they don't want to call themselves investors. They feel like they're in this hobby for the wrong reason, but you guys are, you know, you guys would sell your Canon Spike if you get $1,000 right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because you'd be like, I'll take that 1,000, I'll buy another Canon Spike, and I'll pocket $500 profit. You know.
Yeah.
So I just, as you've been a seller for a long time, you just get this feeling like, I think a lot of people feel like this game is $1,000 game. They won't sell it for any less.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for those that are willing to sell it for today's market value to clear out, you know, until months can go by where nobody's willing to sell Canon Spike for. I keep mentioning Canon Spike because Chris has a Canon Spike. I want to get him off of it.
Hey, another example, Jack Bros going to a totally different console.
Jack Bros on Virtual Boy is one that Chris and I both have been geeking out for a couple of years about. Like, we think that
missed out on investing on it last year.
It has all the makings of a top 10 most collectible video game, period. End of story. Like, on all systems. Jack Bros, CIB. It's your hardest to get for your full set guys. So easy to find yourself in 11 of is it 12 total, Chris?
14, I think 14.
14 North American. So very easy to get to 13 CIBs. If you're missing one CIB to full set, 99% chance I'll call this shot. You're missing Jack Bros, aren't you?
And if you're not,
I actually have Jack Bros. Waterworld.
Or Mario Tennis for display box, but
yeah, now you're getting technical.
Just for the record though, because it's fun to record this kind of shit. It's the beginning of March 2021. I upped my card only to 1,000, and someone listed today a ripped in half label for 900 OBO.
Just this time last year.
And that's the only other one on eBay right now.
Just this time last year, nice ones were sitting for 350, 300. Yeah, CIB might be sitting for 8. Yeah. And it's like, even back then, we were like, dude, we should just snag these because Jack Bros, the SMT #1, the origin of everything that your #1 most collectible JRPG series is Persona.
And it's published by Atlas.
Persona is like a subset of SMT.
Yeah.
Like Shin Megami Tensei started with Jack Bros. You know, they made this cute, quirky game called Jack Bros. They decided to just elaborate, you know, expand upon that world of digital demons and stuff like that. So it all starts with Jack Bros. Jack Bros is the first SMT game. Oh my god, it's Atlas, dude. Yeah, it's your fucking bottleneck to getting every Virtual Boy game for your Virtual Boy. So there's a lot of people that compete for it, you know.
Yeah, and they don't want to let it go once they have it. It's such a small set, like it's just gonna keep going. That's the thing.
In today's market, they might have to put 2K just to check it off the list for their SMT collection.
Yeah.
Or like I've met a couple of people that full set Atlas. They want every single Atlas game ever published in North America. So that's
it's got so many demand pools targeting it.
Yeah, and once it's in their set, it's like unless they're willing to sell all their Atlas games, it's like that stays in their set.
Yeah.
It's locked in. Your SMT people tends to get locked in. Virtual Boy, you know, if that completed your set, it's like until you're ready to sell your whole set, like that Jack Bros stays in that collection.
Yeah.
These are getting locked into collections. It's very rare.
I've actually, surprisingly, a lot of the loose carts that I see have pretty bad label damage. Even mine's got a little rip. Like, it was one of the few that got rented and played. It was actually good, and actually a good game.
So you get one in, like, collector condition, CIB.
Manuals are trash.
Say it has an extra insert. Does it have a registration
They have a reg card that says Jack Bros on it.
Oh, my God.
Huge deal.
So that'll be missing in a lot of copies.
Almost all of them.
So what Chris and I are getting at is if you have yourself a top-notch example
CIB,
of Jack Bros. CIB.
5,000, man.
Yeah, like don't sell it for any less, but our suggestion would be sit 20,000. I know it sounds fucking nuts. It sounds absolutely insane.
Not unbelievable.
But this has all the makings of a top 10 most collectible video game.
To see where Virtual Boy, I know we're on Virtual Boy all of a sudden, but to see where the commons were, even just last year, or a year and a half ago, to see like Mario's Tennis loose carts going for like $35, $40, and that was like a $5 game.
Yep.
Anyway,
things can change when they
Can I show you the Wii or no?
Yeah, I don't mind. GTI Club's my proudest accomplishment, where that game has been popping up on eBay once every 2 months. So that was just a product of me coming in at the right time, realizing like this is one to fucking scoop up under 20, and it's gonna be bone dry for a long time until people realize and then it starts going for over 100, and then I can start moving those copies. But that's a real neat one. GTI Club, also Target Terror, been very scarce, doesn't come up too often. One of those where it just chilled for low enough for nobody to really want it for too long. It's like nobody wants it until it's bone dry on eBay, until it's hard to get, and then people start looking at it, you know. So Target Terror is one of those. I think GameStop still sells it for $4.99 or something like that. Always sold out, of course, as is the case when GameStop has a $4.99 game that you can put on eBay for $50, $60. Yeah, they tend to be out of stock all the time.
They're gonna be phasing out. Getting on GameStop real quick, they're gonna be phasing out weed pretty soon here. I'm sure they'll just quit stocking.
I can see that.
And then what's gonna happen is they're gonna just trash them all. They're gonna just trash all that.
I can see in their system
batteries
making decisions based on like demand, based on like what are people actually searching for, what are people in our database. People want new Super Mario Bros. People want Wii Sports. I can see them, to make things easier on themselves and not get stuck with a bunch of dead stock, they're probably going to narrow in the certain titles that they'll say keep. We can take that. And then they'll tell people like no on Cyberbike, rare game right there. No on GTI Club, because nobody ever so they'll just narrow in.
They'll take Mario Galaxies,
That's what I think. And then GameStop will become, it won't become a honeypot to get this stuff. A lot of this stuff will just get, that exists out there in the wild, will just get trapped into redneck, at home stock, because they were trying to get rid of it through GameStop. GameStop said they can't take my GTI Club, so it just goes in their fucking closet, So a lot of this stuff isn't going to circulate if GameStop says no, we don't take it anymore. So it makes it hard to get.
Talk at all about DS collecting in the future, thanks to GameStop throwing away all those cases.
Yeah, that's with a lot of stuff that they phase out to save shelf space. They start pitching. Start shucking the cases and manuals, so that's become an issue with a lot of DS stuff. I think everybody kind of feels that at this point, where it'll be like, I can get a Izuna 2 card only for X, but if I want it CIB, it's 5X. We're seeing a lot of these like for DS. It's more understandable in the Game Boy realm, where it's like, I got a nice CIB Contra Super C, I think it's called, it's called C on, so that might be like a $15 Game Boy cart, and it's kind of understood that like, well, CIB
probably 200
survival, it is around 200, and it's like survival rate's probably like 50 to 1 for every 49 carts out there. One person kept
even on your cheap games. It's not like GBA or Game Boy Color, OG Game Boy, like even your common games boxed are
could be a $5 game
premium,
and then there's just
could be 40 or 50.
Or even 200 is possible, because you might look at it and be like, yo, there's none on eBay.
No sold.
None have surfaced in a year on this weird
FIFA Soccer 96
title. Chris has got a CIB FIFA Soccer 96, but it's like, you look into it, it's like, anybody that needs this for their full set is probably going to start getting impatient.
Especially if you have mint boxes.
That's where it really matters. So that's a little bit more that follows logic. It makes sense that like OG Game Boy games will go from 5 to 50 in a lot of cases, one CIB. But what you wouldn't expect is DS to behave like that, and that's what we're starting to see.
Now we're in an era where Nintendo no longer produces 3DSs. They're not making them anymore. So DS is like old now.
It's
hard to imagine.
It's fucking wild to think about.
Going to fucking Target, seeing sealed Soul Silvers, and I remember telling, even before I was doing video games, I was like, I should just buy 5 of those. Like, that's guaranteed.
See, that's what always becomes the most like shocking for us all to experience, is like seeing games that were Dirt Dog common become hard to find somewhat,
CIB
and expensive CIB. So I think of titles on 3DS to call a couple shot calls would be like Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I think there's still new old stock where it's not hard to get a sealed copy for probably around 30, maybe a little less. Used copies probably go for right next to that new price. It's the new old stockholders that are defining the price. Seeing the pre-owned market go right up to the fucking kiss the feet, the shoes of the very bottom of the cheapest sealed copies, and that's what used copies are going for. So you mean to tell me that if these guys say, hey, our supply's running low, this game's hot, we're selling 5 copies a day, supply's running low, $30? No, we're gonna try 75. And that's how that's how Deal Tavern works. That's how Shopville.com works. So they just like they have this algorithm set, and their values, their numbers that they place on their titles will just fucking change.
And it happens every time. I mean, once they run out, like once they truly run out, just it fucking skyrockets.
Then it's the collector market. You collectors out there are greedy bastards, man. You don't want to. You're smart. You know, you're just like a fucking game seller. You'd be tempted to sell your Castlevania Lords of Shadow. That's one that I like. For $90 if you could on your pre-owned one, but you can't right now because there's Shopville at $30. But telling you, man, Shopville's gonna go away. Pre-owned market's gonna get spicy on Castlevania, Snake Eater. There's a few, man, but right now you look at the market and you'd be like, I got all day. I don't got to worry about checking this one off the list.
Yeah, it just takes one YouTube video.
Stuff's not gonna get any cheaper. That's the other way of looking at it. Is like right now, because of how aggressive the pre-owned gets bidded up right there.
Yeah, right to seal.
Right to the shoes of seal.
A lot of people want to open it and play it.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. They're getting open too.
There's a lot of something that we've talked about a lot is like on DS and some other systems, those games where it's like you never see them in the wild, like loose or anything. It's like they were just not distributed.
That's another
Most of them went straight to like your Deal Taverns that bought them out.
Yep.
And you just really see sealed ones on eBay. And other than that,
I got a few examples of that just so it can be known. Like these are proof that what I'm saying is true. Samurai Jack GameCube, 4 months ago, $42.37, some odd number. That's how their algorithm tends to define values. It's some weird number. $42.37 shipped for sealed Samurai Jack. Try finding that game now. I'll bet you pre-owned are going for close to 100 because I think Deal Tavern said 42.37. Now let's try 163.92. You know, they just fucking went way crazy with it. Pre-owned market followed suit immediately.
It's so funny. There's that psychological thing that happens where I know you and Devin have always said $100 is that line where people really start to take notice after a game eclipses 100.
Yeah, games chilling under $20 doesn't matter where the supply is. There could be very few copies available, but they'll
just don't care. They're not
be like $20. I can worry about that later. They start worrying about that title when that title starts creeping up to 60, 70. But there is this huge like demand panic over a title that goes from a 2-digit selling rate to like
the 3-digit.
A few sold. The last 3 sold have all eclipsed 100.
Exponential demand growth.
All of a sudden, it's making lists. All of a sudden, people are showing it in their Facebook groups. Their pickups. Now it's show worthy. Now it's flex worthy. Now it's check out my pickups. You wouldn't have flexed on that when it was a $15 game. That's part of the problem with collecting is it's so much demand for heart reactions on Facebook. Demand for
Instagram.
Yes, demand for stadium events is largely in part due to the weird endorphin rush that these fucking losers get from owning it, flexing it, getting reactions from people. So anyways, two more examples. Deal Tavern titles: Spike Out on Xbox, Sega. If anybody that knows the titles that I'm naming is going to be like, oh fuck, it's called Spike Out. It's not a volleyball.
Oh.
It's like a Streets of Rage. If I could see Sega when it was in development, probably planning on releasing the Streets of Rage 4, but they said no, we're not going to. But it's a 3D beat 'em up, exclusive to OG Xbox. Like I'm already describing a title. If somebody's never heard of this and is listening, they're already interested. Like, oh, let me look into this title. You're too fucking late. You should have heeded my warning when I had a boner for this title a couple years ago, because Deal Tavern was at like 35 sealed.
With
totally had that thing capped, but it never popped up pre-owned.
I don't want to cut you off, but with how Dreamcast is starting to really pop off, and Xbox really kind of being like the Dreamcast 2, that only for Xbox subset, that's going to start to blow up. It makes people think
Sega. It makes like Sega exclusives on OG Xbox definitely have that subset appeal. There's a lot of people. Toe Jam and Earl 3 isn't money. It's not hard to find, but it'll become scarcer and scarcer over time because that's just part of that Dreamcast 2 type appeal that OG Xbox has. There's a lot of cool Sega exclusives. But if you actually stop and think about it, all 3 consoles have some cool Sega exclusives. I know I'm getting on a tangent, but like even GameCube has some cool ones. PS2, Blood Will Tell.
GameCube's doing fucking incredible. I mean, I guess last year was really when that started to shoot up, but
Yeah.
all the markets are just.
But when it comes to Sega stuff, it's just cool that like Sega hardware died off. Like Sega collecting really carried on strong with software collecting, whereas like Sega published rares are super high demand and value keeps going up on them. To no surprise to anybody, Blood Will Tell is one I have a huge boner for. At $300, good investment. Blood Will Tell, better than Haunting Ground, better than Rule of Rose. If you got $600 to invest, get 2 Blood Will Tells. Don't get one of two other horror games I mentioned. Don't do it. Get 2 Blood Will Tells. Better investment. So Shot Calls Dave 2021. One other Deal Tavern one is Flower, Sun, and Rain on DS. That was 25 sealed, dude. Just a couple years ago, I could have. That's the thing with Deal Tavern. I'll bet I could have had one shot at quantity 10 at checkout, and then I probably would have immediately probably would have hit their algorithm and they would have price adjusted. I noticed that with Deal Tavern. They respond to influxes of demand or orders. So if you ever do try, get this. Check out Deal Tavern on eBay and just scroll their wares, man. You'll see some titles where it's like, wholly uncirculated title. Nobody has this game pre-owned, but there's Deal Tavern with unknown supply, $12, free shipping, and I can order 10. If you go and order 10, I'll bet you they adjust the price after order 10.
One random one I'm thinking of for Game Boy Color, International Superstar Soccer 2000. They have a huge sealed quantity.
They're holding that one back.
But you never see it. You never see that cart.
Is it 2000?
It's 2000 for color. Yep. And I never see that cart.
Even card only. That's a rare fucking
it
card.
really is. And another tell is like the card only price is pretty close to the sealed price.
Yep.
Like relatively speaking.
When I kicked myself on big time with Deal Tavern was, I remember Sloppy Lazy Dave back in 2012, still in the Air Force. I actually had a dude on the phone. I doubt you can get this far with Deal Tavern anymore, but I contacted him through eBay, and I wanted to work out a deal for Robopon, Game Boy Color, Pokemon clone, Atlas. Different box style, I think. Maybe it's the same box size, but it's one of those big carts, one of those odd-looking. I'm not sure if you've ever seen a loose Robopon, but it's a big cartridge. And they had sealed ones for under 20, man. It was like $17 each.
It's tall, but it's flat, though. And it's got that weird little...
Yeah, is the box for Robopon the same size?
I think it is. I don't remember. I think so.
Either way, though, I could have loaded up. Man, I don't know what they would have done. Maybe $10 a piece for sealed Robopons. Now I'm sure you can get $400-$500 for a sealed Robopon.
But another thing to think about, though, is a lot of those probably got opened.
Yes.
Back in the day.
But I would be surprised also if a lot of them are still in 6-packs over at Deal Tavern HQ.
Yeah,
and they're just being smart with what they got now.
The other problem is with how big they are, Deal Tavern, at least as far as their holdings. Like, dude, they could just one day be cleaning out an area and be like, "Oh, we found another case."
Yep.
And that's
just,
that's
something we all need to be aware of.
There's inherent risk.
Stuff. Yep. Certain titles,
especially with how they'll separate sometimes some of their quantity, they'll leave it for eBay. Sometimes they'll have it on Amazon.
Yep.
Or they'll only list on one site.
Basically, if you're like 2-3 years new to this game, and you think you can just follow your instincts based on like what you've seen over the past couple years, and you start to feel safe about a certain thing, having no new old stock, you could be wrong. Yeah,
like, well, it comes from back then. It was organic collectability, and now we're gonna get into that realm of like, now that everyone's seen what happens with video games and stuff, everyone's gonna be thinking like Beanie Babies, like, oh yeah, let's just hoard it up, keep it sealed, and it changes the dynamic.
Yep. So there's certain titles that Devin and I remember for 15 years ago, the new old stock presence, and now it looks like
Shantae, and it
looks like new old stock's been gone forever. Shantae isn't one. Just as an example, Windy is one where it's like there was new old stock of Windy. Now it's gone, but it's one of those things where like if I had an opportunity to trade somebody off of a sealed Windy, but they wanted a lot for it, it'd be like I'd be a little bit put off by it, because
there's a better way to
be
spend
interacting with the same dude that's got 50 of them.
Yeah, at his
you
house,
know?
and he's not going to tell you.
And he's perfectly okay backdoor sliding them out, not letting them touch the eBay market, because then its presence starts to be felt. If you were to just sell and relist, sell and relist, sell and
It's a
relist.
slow burn, you know. You got to be really, or you've got to just make it seem like. I've done this before with titles that I've got depth on. Like, I'll just relist it immediately, and like sometimes people don't notice.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but like, yeah, in general with stuff like that, it could cause it to be a real slow burn.
Yeah, people that have invested in a new old stock or just like me, people that have depth on any one hard to find title, they're gonna be smart about how they supply it out to the market.
Yeah.
I don't want to burn out GTI Club. I want GTI Club to remain very scarce. I want it to get noticed as one that's, you know, people should have FOMO about.
Yeah.
You know, if it pops up for $40, I don't want to be supplying one of mine for 60. You know, I'm just gonna wait till the market's dry for a little while. So there's lots of people doing that. You really got to have years and years of experience to make good shot calls on a lot of stuff, man. I can't even think of like the safety zone. Like NES is pretty damn safe.
It's actually doing well right now. Loose carts are actually up.
It's doing very well. I think WADA has a big part to do with that. I think they're
shooting demand over.
Yeah, I just think a lot of what they've been preaching to these new investors with deep pockets kind of insinuates to these new guys to go for full set NES, you know, because a lot of what they're propping up,
especially
like first appearance of Mario,
labels,
Metroid, nice CIBs, sealed stuff.
Yeah.
And I think just a lot of these guys find themselves with a lot of heavy, real fine CIB or sealed NES stuff, and they just start looking at the rest of the library. We're just feeling as resellers, we're totally feeling.
Well, and now
NES
stuff
is roaring again.
Stuff is going to start going into strong hands, like collections where they're not going to come out. Like, I got a minty gem mint opened Toxic Crusaders on NES CIB. I'm not selling
If
that.
it's a deep pocket investor that's buying this stuff, why is he buying this stuff? To make money,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So they're not going to put it on the market for any less than what they bought it for.
Yeah.
So
And
a lot of what's been being pulled from eBay or being bought by investors, and it just won't reappear.
Yep, it's being taken away from the market for probably years.
Yep.
Like that's the
And
thing
it'll be
with
priced up. So you really can't go wrong. Like if you're an NES guy and it's hard to find stuff that's on your final stretch, the full set, let's just say, you have 50 to go. Like odds are all 50 of those you should prioritize over Wii stuff, over PS3.
Well, the thing like in the coin market, for example, like you go to an auction for a really rare piece, and it's like, if you don't buy this today, you might not be able to buy it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Like it might not come back on they're going to keep it in their family unless they really win and you pay triple, 4 times what they paid.
I'll give you some example. In NES, there's not a lot that really fits the bill on, but I would say like you got expensive taste and you want CIB Taito heavies. CIB Samson, I think you can still get for like 5 or less. Good investment. Sounds nuts. I know. I can see a lot of people being like, that's dumb. Putting 5K into a game. They made thousands of them though. But no, I think CIB super rares on
Mint.
NES in great shape, I think are pretty solid fucking investments.
They're pretty iconic and
you know, like even Cowboy Kid, you know, even if you get off the beaten path a little bit, Dragon, what's it called?
Oh, Dragon Warrior? No. Shit.
You know what I'm saying? The Sata, whatever. Fuck. I know it's trivial thinking of that title, but
it's not Sata.
Is it not?
Not
Castle of Dragon. It's made by the same people.
Oh.
Fuck, man.
Whatever.
I can see it now.
I sold one.
I can just see the cover. Fuck. It's a fucking dumb name. It's eluding me.
Sofel, right?
Sofel published it. Yeah, Dragon Fighter.
Yeah.
Is that
it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Dumb name, Dragon Fighter.
Yeah.
I fight dragons. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff is. It's kind of like. I don't know. It's so rare, and so many people are after that rare stuff. I'm just surprised that some of this stuff hasn't accelerated, hasn't shot out of reach. All that supply has just been gobbled up, and any reemergence gets gobbled. I'm surprised that that's not happening. It seems to be happening with like sealed stuff more, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
In my opinion, better investment for you new guys with deep pockets that are listening to WADA. I'd say better investment is just go for the already established rare stuff. Like if it's hard for you to spend that money, if it's hard to, it's like, dude, I know that this game goes for no more than 3K. You know, factory sealed cowboy kit. None's ever sold for 3K. I just can't find one for sale. It's like, dude, if one pops up for 3K, jump on it. All right, I keep fucking gone too deep with NES. That's my advice though. Go for rares. Don't go for fucking.
If it hasn't been found by now, like on NES, you know, it's.
Or you know what's really dumb to me is like here's a common sealed NES game, Dragon Warrior. Really fucking common sealed. What's really dumb to me is 9.8 went for $5,000. I'm trying to get like a 9.8. 9.8 went for $5,000, and I see one that just got listed for $3,500. Good price, I think, because I've seen it on Heritage. It went for $5,000. I get a chance for $3,500 for another 9.8. Don't fall into the like coin like
condition,
because that it behaves like that with coins,
creating a really high price jump.
Yeah, you know, where it's like, but try to find one of these Morgan 1850 or 18. I'm being stupid hypothetical, but it's like MS65 grade, 50 grand, but MS63, 10 grand. You know, that kind of value relationship for very, very fine, quantifiable, you know, things that would make this example slightly better than this one, making that much of a value difference. It doesn't happen in video games, and I don't think it ever will. I don't think it'll catch on. Wada would love to make that catch on.
That's what they try to do. That's how they try to explain, like, well, yeah, the reason your sealed Mario Bros on 2600 isn't selling for 1,000 is because the one that we sold,
there's no old stock of that game.
The one that we sold has no box dents, no crushing. It's like,
yeah.
There's 6 packs up the yin yang.
If you guys can trick the masses and make that a standardized thing, an accepted thing, it can't sustain itself because like it turns out there's tons of 6-packs that they're pulling. Well,
and then they deal with
9.8 is easy to get.
There were like at least 2 print runs of that game, 2 separate huge print runs, whereas like go with games that have 1 print run. You know?
Yeah.
It's just
I feel you. Like
that's my opinion. Like
yeah,
you want a combination of condition and just true rarity in any form. You don't want it to only be conditionally rare.
Right.
It's not a good formula in my opinion. I don't like those investments.
So like it really the one that a lot of people like to pass off is like, this is an example of bullshit shilling, is like Mario Bros 1 with the sticker sealed, truly unopened sticker seal. That's actually legit. Like I could see why somebody would put 100K into it, because it's like, it's clearly identifiably like a very first print New York test market print of it. Why the fuck would one exist unopened? It really is. That is a special piece. But that's so different than like a premium grade Mario 3 sealed versus, it's Left Bro, but it's a premium Left Bro grade. There's a lot of them out there, man. So like, if you can settle for one that's a couple condition grades knocked down, but you're saving yourself $40,000, most collectors are gonna lean towards that. So it's so you get a lot of these guys like Trade In Games YouTube channel. He's also the guy that had that big heist of his Wada stuff. So he's one of the big talking heads as far as like dealers that is in bed with Wada, making a lot of money through Wada, and he's talking about these concepts. He's a big fan of the whole like condition equals value,
trying to push that rhetoric.
Yes, good way of saying it. Because like for these guys, like they've been investing into high grade, you know, really nice sealed stuff. It's just from my experience, man, like not a lot of people follow that.
Not in video games, it's not like that. And the other thing is, I mean, WAD is so new still. So when you're like, well, this is the finest grade, that doesn't mean shit, man. Don't even go there. Like, you know how many it's one thing where it's like we just know. I mean, too many people in the market just know, like, no, that's a common game.
Yeah, the only people you're gonna fool are fellow newbies, just like yourself, that are here just for the money, just to be cutting edge, jump in before it gets red hot. You know, maybe you came from comic books, maybe you came from coins. You're jumping into video games, which are a very immature market, and you're trying to make moves that prove themselves to be smart moves with comic books, with coins. It's not necessarily going to play out perfectly, transitioning over to video games. I think a lot of people are disrespecting like true rares. I think we're over by the Xbox section. When I think of OG Xbox, true rare, I think of Stubbs the Zombie. It's not iconic. It's not Halo. It's not, oh, that's the first print Halo, factory sealed 9.8. That's what these guys love to get fluffed up.
Yeah.
You know why? Because those were easy for them to acquire, easy to get graded, and now they want that easy money. Any path of everyone takes the path of least resistance for easy money. So everyone's going to be following down
the
that
thing
path.
that people should be thinking about is when you see 9.8, which is like their highest grade, that means it came out of a sealed 6-pack.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that means.
I'll tell you an example of this WADA ridiculousness, the gold rush making easy WADA money is Devin was noticing this trend of people auction styling factory sealed, perfect graded Grand Theft Autos, Black Label. These all come from 3-packs that you can get from Deal Tavern for $25 free shipping. You can still get these Grand Theft Auto
and that they were
triple
printing
packs.
for years.
Yes, at Walmart. I think a lot of us still remember. You can probably still go to Walmart and get some of these, triple packs. PS2.
They had PS2. I bought a sealed triple pack PS2 GTA 3 in 2016.
But when you see a WADA graded 9.8 Grand Theft Auto Vice City that came from one of these triple packs go auction style for like $700-800, guess what? 1,000 geniuses are gonna run over, grab themselves a few of these $25 3-packs, send them off to WADA with instructions saying, we're instructing you to separate, grade, handle with gloves, whatever you got to do so that I get the max grade. And so Devin paid for expedited servicing.
Yeah,
He wants to
paid
get these
more
onto the
money.
market.
He was like, I paid more money for the grading and the shipping.
He did, a fuck ton. Yeah, he paid $100 per. So he paid $25 for this triple pack. Then he paid $100 for each game to get not only graded but also they call it the speed run service. Very cute, WADA. So that he can get these back in his possession sooner, just to drop them onto the market before
it's hot, before
everyone else jumps in on this. And he said in the processing time, which is 2 weeks, but it's been more like a month now. He says like he's already too late to the punch. Like they're flooded on eBay.
Yeah.
So
another thing, I want to close the video off soon here, but dude, I've really noticed people are paying, like a big thing I'm seeing lately is people paying a lot of money for like horrible label condition, so very close to like if you pay just a little bit more, like you can get a way better condition piece. And like I'm seeing
don't settle for rough condition.
Just pay up that extra money. You're not getting a bargain, because that's gonna be unsellable. It's gonna be
that's another thing that when we look back on this video 5 years from now, 2021, we'll say, oh yeah, we knew this was coming. 2021 rough condition is way too close to nice.
It's overvalued right now, and that stuff is it's not gonna grow with the rest of the market, and it's just not liquid.
So take your rough Samson,
sell it while you can,
sell it for top dollar in today's market. Immediately take that money, add 30% to it,
and get a gem mint,
and then go right back for that same title and get a mint one. And it's worth it.
I have a horrible condition card only Panic Restaurant. It's got a shit ton of views, shit ton of watchers. It's gonna sell.
For what it's worth, would you love to put, again, 1/3 of that value? To upgrade it.
I have it up for $700, and just throw in a little bit more, get a gem mint label, and the ratio is hilarious for a ripped in half label sculptor's cut on
for how
N64
much you can get for one of those
to go for whatever it's going for.
Yeah,
so close to a full nice label.
Yeah,
it's just you've got such a limited buying pool, just because from other collectibles, it's how they behave. You have such a limited buying pool that's like, oh, I have 800, but I don't have 1,200 to get a nice one.
What we're suggesting is going to prove itself over the next couple of years when you start to see nice sculptor's cuts get pricier where it's not going for that, but it's like nobody's willing to sell it for nobody's willing to list a minty label for less than 1,200, let's just say. But all day long you'll be able to get those big old tears across it. Had a Blockbuster sticker, so try to get it out. You'll be able to get those for yesterday's mint value, So upgrade to minty on those truly rare, quote unquote, grail type pieces. Let's cap this off with just a couple other
Yeah.
cool what Dave's doing. 360 shooters. Most of the stuff that I've got depth on, I would say I was just picking up at the right time where it's all doubled. So if I'm showing you something I got depth on, it's gone up since I was getting it last year. You know, Deadly Premonitions. That was one that the sequel coming out helped me out a lot. But still, when that was like a sub 15er, like fucking going for it. So that one paid off pretty well. Operation Darkness has been a really good investment for me. I got more than this. I got a lot more at the house. I've spoken the merits of this one many times. Atlas North American exclusive.
Yep, never released in Europe.
Did come out in Japan, but that's how these Japanese games typically go. They come out in Japan, and then it's like, where are they getting localized? And it only got localized in North America, most likely because of all the fucking Nazi shit going on.
Exclusive.
Who's that guy?
Yeah.
It's a bad guy. So that's my theory, is that in Europe they were just like, we don't want to.
Yeah, they probably weren't even legally allowed to in a lot of countries.
I would guess so. So makes it a neat. Only came out in North America for English language.
And not on
kind
PS3.
of title. Plays like Fire Emblem. Developed by Success, who also did like DS. They did a Fire Emblem clone called Rondo of Swords. This is a Fire Emblem clone. Pretty neat. Success also did Dark Spire. They just have this pedigree of quality collectible titles.
Really popular game style, those Fire Emblem clones these days.
How about this company called Atlas?
Yeah, who the hell are they?
They tend to have this notice that nerds tend to go for Atlas. People with good taste go for Atlas. So I had a lot going for it when I was a sub 20er. Went hard after it, and I want to start seeing this pre-owned start going over 100. That's what I'm hoping for here soon. Others to go for: Atlas exclusive Zoids Assault. It's a strategy game, not like other Zoids games. This is a turn-based tactical RPG. Spectral Force 3 being another Atlas exclusive tactical RPG. So you got 3 tactical RPGs. Oh shit! Can you turn flash on while it's filming?
Nah. Nope.
It's still filming?
Yeah.
Here, use the light to guide us.
There's no light.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Oh no!
I got nothing, man.
Oh, let's do Coding 2. Crunch. Alright, I got it. Keep it rolling.
Okay. Oh, nice.
That's a. Before I get talked out and this kind of fiddles away into a shitty video. My strategy has typically been with PS2. It's like, pick a genre that you see. One was a great genre for that system, and 2, that genre come closing generation of this system, entering the new generation, it just happens to be a genre that went the way of the dinosaur. Wasn't a good example would be like 2D beat 'em ups. What the fuck happened to 2D beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage and Final Fight? Well, we fell into polygons. We tried 3D beat 'em ups. They sold better, and it's just like the rest is history. You know, it wasn't until like 25 years later when like making retro inspired games became a thing that you had like indie 3-man dev teams release straight to the digital marketplace beat 'em ups like Scott Pilgrim and stuff like that, you know. But really, like, they had this peak in the 16-bit era, kind of some in the 32-bit era too, Saturn, PS1, but mostly imports. So with PS2, I kind of felt it coming. Your retro survival horror, where it's like fixed third-person camera angles, old school Resident Evil style survival horror. You know, enter a room, cameras here, move a little bit over into the room, cameras. Old school survival horror, like that really peaked out GameCube, PS2, and then of course it goes like the way of Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5. They got more third-person action. So it was just this genre where there's a few games sitting in that library, like Siren, Clock Tower 3, Rule of Rose, Haunting Ground. It's kind of like, dude, these are the highest fidelity, you know, the most graphically powerful systems that are going to have great retro survival horror is PS2. Sure enough, like that becomes kind of a focal point of collecting PS2.
It's a subset.
Horror, you know, whereas most people, if you were to go back in time and talk to collectors who would speculate about, well, what do you think is going to be pricey? They'd probably go off of like PS1 pricey stuff. They'd say, well, Suikoden 2 is really pricey. Valkyrie Profile is really pricey. Let's look over at PS2. And they would just start calling all these shots with JRPGs. And it's not always the case. You know, every generation can break the mold. So now getting over to speculating on 360 PS3, it's counterintuitive. That's where you want to be. You don't want to follow the herd. Counterintuitive would be like, have FPSs ever been collectible? Well, this generation was like the last generation of really good story-driven FPSs. I guess you'll get a few on Xbox One, PS4, but like...
It's really turned into online-only type of gameplay now.
Like Titanfall kind of started to show like how
Very
you make...
little effort put into a...
Hey, developers, this is how you make the most money on an FPS. Do it how EA makes money, you know? Do DLC, skins, microtransactions, you know? So we did away from FPSs like this, hard to find, exclusive to 360, and it's a neat experience. You know, demand for this game could totally come from like just wanting to see where that story goes, you know? So FPS is a genre that I kind of look for on 360 PS3 for oddball FPS stuff. I don't know if one of these days I'll go slower and just go over what I'm sitting on, but
I know another genre like railgun shooters.
On the okay, great example on the Wii is like, what can the Wii do that better than any other system? And that's those fucking rail shooters, arcade style light gun shooters. There's a lot of them that are exclusive to the Wii. Several of them are very hard to find. Show a few examples. Wherever my Gunblade New York LA Machine Guns is. I keep moving this stuff around, so it's probably some other location in the warehouse. Fuck, I can't show it. This is an example of a dirt cheap one that's just fantastic, great game. So that one's gonna stop being $5-10. That's gonna start climbing. But that's just a genre that the Wii does so well that once a collector gets a little taste of it, once the collector gets House of the Dead 2 and 3 plus House of the Dead Overkill, gets themselves Dead Space, Extraction, starts getting some of those horror shooters, they're gonna naturally want gunslingers, they're gonna want Gunblade, they're gonna want Dino Strike. These are hard to find rail shooters, so those I think will become your creme de la creme. Some RPGs as well. Those, you can't help the RPG people. There's an exclusive RPG on the Wii like Opuna or Ark Rise Fantasia. It's a good one. Pandora's Tower. You know, your exclusive RPGs. That's good shit. But yeah, 360. Fucking think of a genre the 360 did better than its competitors, better than PS3 and Wii. I think of shmups, baby. I think of exclusive shmups like Death Smiles, Raiden Aces, Raiden 4, even Wartech. A lot of people don't know that that's a cool shooter. I think it's kind of cool. It's more of a boss rush shmup, bullet hell. You got Odomedius, excellent. Meanwhile, the PS3 has a game called Under Defeat. That's a Deal Tavern fucking game published by Rising Star, a company that always has weird uncirculated supply. Deadly Premonition on PS3. It's really rare, but Deal Tavern has it. Rising Star. So certain publishers tend to be sneaky. Like they want their shit to be collectible. They want it intentionally under distributed. LRG is a good example, but like some of them are kind of sneaky LRGs. Rising Star being one of them.
Yeah, they're a culprit.
So they try to be more, hey, our stuff isn't intentionally made limited and made to be collectible, but by all account of their actions, they seem to be in tune with the whole how to make your brand fucking collectible. So Rising Star did Under Defeat HD on PS3. That's your only shmup in North America on PS3. 360, however, was kind of like a shmup mecca. Shmups being a very collectible genre. means that anybody that has 360 in their video game collection that has good taste, they have a nice library of PS2, PS1, they got some good Wii stuff. It's like, what do they have on their 360? It's probably shmups and some exclusive RPGs. So got my hands on that kind of stuff before it's competitive to get it. Am I trailing off, Chris? Should I end on a banger?
Yeah.
Let me just end by thanking Canadian Gamer for turning me onto this title, because some YouTuber talked about it. I think Sega Lord X talked about the Sega Ages compilation for PS2. This game's now fucking dried up. No longer a tenner. I was able to get all my copies for 10. Should have more than that. King Root 66, another high recommendation. Fuck, I could go on. Let's
Cut it?
yeah, let's cut it.